In a small village on the outskirts of Punjab, where golden sunlight spread across endless green fields every morning, lived a poor farmer named Rehman. His life was simple, yet filled with dignity and hard work. Rehman owned only 2 acres of land. To others, it seemed too little to matter, but to him, it was everything. That land was not just soil, it was his identity, his survival, and the only inheritance passed down from his forefathers. Every morning before sunrise, Rehman would wake up, offer his prayers, and quietly walk toward his fields. The cool breeze, the smell of fresh soil, and the sound of birds gave him peace. His hands were rough from years of labor, but his heart was soft and full of hope. At home, his wife Sakina stood as his strongest support. She was patient, kind, and always grateful, no matter how difficult life became. Their 2 children, Ali and Noor, were the light of their lives. Though their house was small and made of mud, it was filled with love and warmth. Rehman dreamed of a better future. He wanted his children to study, to live a life better than his. Every crop he planted carried not just seeds, but his hopes. But one day, everything began to change. In the same village lived a powerful and wealthy landlord named Malik Shabazz. He owned vast lands, had influence over people, and was known for getting whatever he desired. People feared him, and no one dared to question his authority. One afternoon, as Malik rode past the fields, his eyes fell on Rehman's land. Though small, the soil was rich and fertile. It had a life in it that even large lands sometimes lacked. At that moment, Malik decided, he wanted that land. The next day, Rehman was summoned to Malik's grand mansion. With a heavy heart, Rehman went. The large gates, the guards, and the luxurious surroundings made him feel small. Malik sat comfortably on a chair, surrounded by his men. Rehman, Malik said calmly, I want your land. Rehman lowered his gaze respectfully. Sir, that land is my livelihood. I cannot sell it. Malik smiled, but there was no warmth in it. I will give you more money than you have ever seen. You can buy better land elsewhere. Rehman gathered his courage. Money cannot replace what that land means to me. It belongs to my family. I cannot give it away. Malik's expression hardened. Think carefully, he said in a cold tone. I always get what I want. Rehman left, knowing that trouble had just begun. From that day, his life became a struggle. The water supply to his fields was mysteriously cut off. The canal that once flowed freely was redirected. His crops began to dry. Rehman tried everything, carrying water himself, working twice as hard, but nature alone was not enough without support. Then, one night, some unknown men entered his fields and destroyed a portion of his crops. When Rehman saw the damage the next morning, his heart sank. But he did not give up. He planted again. Days turned into weeks, and just as his crops began to grow once more, another disaster struck. One night, flames rose high into the sky. His entire field was set on fire. Rehman stood at a distance, watching helplessly as months of hard work turned to ashes. His dreams burned along with his crops. Falling to his knees, he raised his hands toward the sky. Oh Allah! I have never wronged anyone. Why is this happening to me? There was no answer, but his prayer did not go unheard. At home, Sakina saw the pain in his eyes. She held his hands and said softly, Allah sees everything. He will not let injustice go unanswered. Her words gave him strength, but the trials were not over. A few days later, Malik's men came with documents. They claimed that the land now belonged to Malik. Whether it was through forged papers or influence, Rehman had no power to fight it. He was forced to leave. Standing at the edge of his field, Rehman looked at his land one last time. Tears filled his eyes, but he said nothing. With his family beside him, he walked away. Life changed completely. Rehman moved to the city outskirts and began working as a laborer. From owning land, he was now carrying bricks under the harsh sun. His body grew weaker, but his faith grew stronger. Every night, he prayed for justice, not revenge, just justice. Meanwhile, Malik Shabazz's life began to fall apart. His health started deteriorating without any clear reason. Doctors failed to diagnose the problem. His business began to collapse. Losses came one after another. At home, peace disappeared. Arguments became common. Sleep abandoned him. Nights became long and restless. People in the village whispered, "This is the prayer of a helpless man, or perhaps his silent curse." Malik tried to ignore it, but deep inside, fear began to grow. One day, while driving through the city, Malik saw a familiar face on the roadside. It was Rehman. Wearing old clothes, covered in dust, working as a laborer, but there was a strange peace on his face. Malik stopped the car. He stepped out and slowly walked toward him. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Malik finally said, in a trembling voice, "Rehman, forgive me." Rehman looked at him quietly. There was no anger in his eyes, only calmness. He replied softly, "Do not ask me for forgiveness, ask Allah." Those words broke something inside Malik. Tears filled his eyes. For the first time in his life, he felt small. That day, Malik made a decision. He returned Rehman's land. Not only that, but he also helped him rebuild what was lost. The villagers were shocked. No one had ever seen Malik bow down like that before. Rehman returned to his land. As he stepped onto the soil, he bent down and touched it with his hands. Tears of gratitude rolled down his face. This was not just land, it was his life, his dignity, restored. He began working again. This time, something was different. His crops grew better than before. His hard work seemed blessed. Slowly, his life improved. His children started going to school. Happiness returned to his home. And through it all, Rehman remained humble. Injustice may seem powerful for a while, but it never wins in the end. The cry of the oppressed does not go unheard. Even if the world stays silent, Allah listens. Never take away the rights of the weak, because when justice does not come from the earth, it surely comes from the heavens.